virgin's womb. Very God begotten, not created. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him, Christ the Lord. Sing, choirs of angels, sing in exaltation.
Hello there, everyone. Slightly different show than usual. I'm joined today by Merrick Deville. Hello there, Merrick.
Hey.
How are you?
It's interesting. It's been better.
Fair enough. Now you've been through a difficult time of the last, the last little while, I suppose.
Yeah.
And anything you don't want to talk about, obviously, you don't have to if you don't feel comfortable and all of that. But before we get into it, tell us a little bit about yourself for everyone who doesn't necessarily know.
I am a baby leftist. I make content on YouTube. Sometimes I do. I'm sorry. I guess I'm known for having guns and for reading theory in my underwear. Yeah. Oh, and I guess I'm also known for being a sex worker advocate and talking about sex work issues.
Yeah, indeed. Now you've been. Oh, no, for some reason my light's flickering. Yes. So you came to some prominence in sort of online leftist spaces quite rapidly, didn't you? And I think there's possibly a certain amount of jealousy behind some of the shit you've been getting as well.
Yeah, so at the beginning of August, when I first started using my Twitter account, I had like maybe 100 followers. And then by the time like September rolled around, I had like 30,000.
Yeah.
So this was a really, really, really dramatic gaining of a following. And yeah, I think a lot of people were really, really, really unhappy about it. Some people might be jealous. I also think, there's a learning curve with Twitter because I hadn't been active on Twitter. I've mostly been active on Instagram and Facebook, and those are Twitter has its own culture. And left Twitter definitely has its own culture. And, there's even little circles within left Twitter. But yeah, I think it was a really, really sharp learning curve. So I think I did a lot of things that might be considered normal in real life or in other online spaces that were not acceptable. So I think that caused some resentment. And then yeah, you're right. There's probably a little bit of jealousy.
Yeah. The most recent one, I suppose. I mean, we'll get maybe into some of that backstory a little bit later, if you're okay with that. But your most recent cancellation, I suppose, if that's the correct phrase,
Yes.
was by some tankies online who were upset with your incredibly hot take that Stalin might have been a bit bad.
Yeah. Hold on one second. I have a dachshund that's very loud. Hey, here we go. Are you streaming this on Twitch or are you streaming this on YouTube?
Both.
Both? Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Okay. Well, while Merrick's doing that, thank you to John Crimboyce for subscribing. Says, oh, hang on, what did they say?
Sorry, I don't know how they managed to have such small bodies and such loud voices. It's cool. So, yeah, I guess I didn't even really say that. The part about this is I didn't even say Stalin was bad. I didn't even talk shit about Stalin at all, actually. I actually just was really neutral. So, no, please stop calling me. So, they were talking about World War II, which you know what? Hold on. I'm sorry. I gotta get my husband to deal with these
Yeah.
dogs because they're just so fun.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely fine. Also, cat there on the bed,
I'm sorry. I gotta get my.
having a clean. Always good. Might get Mary to talk about that in a second. Yes, John Krembars, thank you for subscribing on Twitch, which you can do below on the links and all of that jazz. I'm a poor sucker, but it's still a little gift for Kev. John Krembars, play on the name of my name and John Rambo, so pronounced John Crambo. Okay, I don't know what that means, but thank you anyway. Yeah, and like I say, you can subscribe on Twitch by the links below if you want to.
Been animals in this house. It's a zoo.
No, that's lovely. We were just watching your cat clean itself as well, which was quite nice.
Oh, yeah, there's cats there too. Oh my god, sorry. There's so many fucking animals in here.
You okay?
Yeah, it's a literal zoo in this house. So, okay, here's the deal. I didn't actually talk shit about Stalin at all. So let's talk about what I actually did do. I referenced the German-Soviet Axis talks. Are you familiar?
I am, yes. My university degree was 20th century European history and politics. I'm very well aware.
Okay. So I guess a lot of people weren't aware of this, or because a lot of people told me that this wasn't real. So I had just recently learned about this incident, like maybe a week and a half before this happened, actually. Oh my god. Sorry, I have a surgery tomorrow, so these people just keep calling. I'm trying to figure out how to make this stop.
That's okay. If you need to take the phone call, that's fine. I can fill in. It's not a problem.
Sorry, I'm such a fucking mess right now.
Yeah, so
All I did was reference the German-Soviet Axis talks. That's it.
right.
I just said that they existed, or that they happened.
Well, what was the context of this conversation then? Because I mean, I was going to look it up, but obviously you've deactivated your Twitter, so the tweets weren't available. What was the context of that?
So okay, it was about Vosh, of course. It was Vosh, Stalin, Lenin, and I think Marx. And then it was all four of their pictures together. And then it was like, hey, one of them has to go. And so I was like, thank you. So I was like, okay, well, Stalin has to go. And people started, people were talking about that. And then I don't know if it was in response to my comment or in response to someone else's comment, but the author of the post was like, well, Stalin was in talks with the Nazis.
Yeah.
And someone else was like, yeah, then what happened? And I guess I didn't realize that it was, yeah, then what happened, instead of oh, then what happened? So I thought it was like someone just like asking for like historical information. I didn't realize that this person was actually doing like a gotcha and wanting to fight. So if I'd known that this person was doing a gotcha and wanted to fight with the other person, I just like wouldn't have gotten involved. But so I was like, okay, well, what happened was, they talked about spheres of influence, and then talks ended up breaking off, and then the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact was broken, and that. So
Yeah.
I guess that was worth crucifying me over.
Yeah. It seems like such an odd thing in general, because I know a lot of tankies especially are want to say that things are CIA propaganda, but this is all pretty well known, available, documented history. This is not some complete fabrication or anything of the sort. And you can still, you could still make the argument, I think it's slightly disingenuous, that Stalin was some great hero of anti-fascism on the basis that the Soviet Union then did fight Germany. But that's surely on the soldiers who did that, rather than Stalin himself, who was trying to get out of necessarily having to do that, if that makes sense. But why was that worthy of cancelling you specifically? Because, like you say, you didn't even really talk shit about Stalin.
So actually that's an important point, and that's actually why I deactivated my Twitter because so hundreds of people were dogpiling me, and the responses were getting more vitriolic and more violent as it was going on. And just more hateful, and just some of them were fucking evil, I have to be honest. So it was at that point that I realized this happens to me probably either once a week or once every 2 weeks now, where I'll say something that I think is just like normal. And people will decide that it's a reason to try to harass me to a degree that is insane, to be honest. So for a lot of these incidences, I've been like, okay, well, I did this, or well, it must be my fault because if you think about what I said, and if you interpret um this thing that I said in the worst possible way, then I guess it could be my fault. But this time I was just like, man, no way you slice it did I do anything. And I just finally realized, like, there's no way that I can like tell myself that this is my fault this time. Um,
Yeah.
and I was just like, you know what? It doesn't matter. It's not. It doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't matter whether I'm right. This isn't about the truth. This isn't about anything that I say or do. It really is just about being horrible to me. It really is just about the cruelty. So,
Yeah.
and it's not going to stop.
Yeah. That is the point. I think of all the people I've observed online, I think you're the person who receives more bad faith interaction than I think pretty much anyone I've seen. There seems
Yeah.
to be a little cottage industry of people who, regardless of what you do, and I mean we're all imperfect, of course, seem to want to interpret everything you do and say as some intrinsic evil, regardless of any merit to that.
Yeah, actually, it's interesting. Let me, oh shit, I don't even have my OBS up. I should be recording this. It's interesting because now that I finally just um deactivated my Twitter account because I was like, I just need a fucking break, like this is insane. Um, I just need a break. It's the holidays. It was like a couple of days before Christmas, and it's my husband's favorite holiday. And I was like, it has to stop. So what they've done now is they've started harassing me on all my other social media. So I've now had to private both my Instagrams because I have a public Instagram that I've done a lot of like been open about sex work on that is really, really, really super fucking shadow banned. So I have another like private Instagram just for myself, or another like smaller, much smaller Instagram just for myself. So I've had to private both of those. I've had to private my Facebook. I don't know how to like private YouTube. I don't think that's a thing. But yeah, so they've gone through all of my other social media now, and now they're going through all of my husband's social media accounts, trying to go after me there.
Yeah.
So the newest thing that they're going after me for, and it's interesting that you said like talking about bad faith and trying to turn every single thing I do into something fucking evil and awful. Um, a year ago, I got my house cleaned, because I have rheumatoid arthritis, fibromyalgia, and I have a couple of digestive disorders. So I'm really, 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 really sick, to be honest. And I'm sick most of the year. I spend a lot of time in this chair, and I spend a lot of time in my bed. Um, and my husband works two jobs, and he's my full-time caretaker. So one time a year ago, between two adults, we saved up the money to get our house cleaned because, I fall into these deep depressions and I don't really clean, and I also physically can't really clean. So our house was in really, 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 really bad shape. So, we hired a maid service like 11 months ago. And I'm being like grilled for that. And a lot of people are pointing to evidence of it, saying that it's clear that I'm a fucking grifter, um, that I'm must be like really rich, uh, that it's true that I'm fucking fake. And so I had some of those conversations with people where I was like, so that's been happening for a couple of days now, and I was like, dude, it's between two adults. It was like under $200. Like we got one house cleaning one time. So now the narrative has shifted to I mocked and exploited workers and tried to get domestic workers fired and tried to do that for entertainment for my audience on Facebook, which is a ton of my in real life friends and like chuddy dudes from Facebook groups that just want to see my tits that don't care about politics or anything like this at all. One time a year ago.
Yeah,
So,
that's that.
because I made a joke. You've probably seen the screenshots at this point.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, I'm a sex worker, right? So I do porn and I guess the situation was like I had forgotten I have a bench at the end of my bed and I had forgotten like a bunch of my toys were out because I put them there just so that easy access for filming. So I'd forgotten that a bunch of my toys were out. And this poor sweet girl like came upstairs and was cleaning upstairs and I didn't even realize they were fucking out the entire time. And then she like started to pick them up and move them and clean and I was like, oh no, 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 like don't, no, sweetheart, don't do that. That's okay. Like, that's I'll take care of that. Like it's okay, baby, don't. And so like I made a joke about that. And then I guess I made a post on my personal Facebook. And then a little bit later, my husband used to be a DJ like 20 years ago in Miami. That was like what he did to get by. And he has this like super fucking old DJ equipment that at this point is like, I guess some of it's kind of expensive. I don't know anything about DJ equipment, but they accidentally damaged it. They did like $1,000 worth of damage. And so I was like, oh fuck. And my understanding is some cleaning services have insurance for things like that because I have a friend who runs a cleaning business. So I called the owner and I was like, hey, like, I know it wasn't their fault. I still tipped them 20% after the service was over. Like, so I called her and I was like, hey guys, this is a situation. Like, can you either like, can you help us out? Do you have insurance for things like that? What are we gonna do here? And she was just fucking, the owner of the company was fucking horrible to us. Like she basically was like, fuck you, my maids didn't do this. And we were like, okay, well, they did. It's not a big deal, but like, can we resolve this situation? And she basically was like, well, if you want a refund, well, first of all, I'm not going to give it to you. And second of all, you're taking money out of maids' pockets. And we were like, okay, all right, cool, whatever. And so then like, on my Facebook post, I didn't even go to the company page. I didn't go to their Facebook profile, like nothing like that. On my post that I made that my in real life friends were going to see, I was like, hey guys, like just a heads up, because they all live in my city. It's my in real life friends. That's where this company is. I was like, hey guys, just a heads up. Like, they treated us like shit. We had this weird, really bad interaction. Like, I just wouldn't do it. Like, it was bad. That's it.
yeah,
That's the situation.
yeah,
And so now it's that I was exploiting workers. I was mocking workers for the amusement of my audience, and I was trying to get people fired because I'm actually a bougie Karen. And it's like I can't just be a normal person. I can't just do normal person things and be a normal person because these people want to turn me into a literal cartoon villain. And what's really fucked up? That's such a like weirdly mundane every fucking day situation. I still tip those girls 20%. I understand shit happens. I literally to the owner of the company was like, hey, please don't, like, I understand it was an accident. Like I went so above and beyond to try to take care of the people in that situation, and I'm now being turned into like such a fucking asshole and like getting crucified for this and being posted on like meme pages for this.
yeah. I think that's the point. It's bad faith. You needn't take. I mean, it's always worth analysing any criticism you get from any source, but ultimately, so much of the criticism in regard to things like that is obviously bad faith that it's worth just ignoring. And I know that's easier said than done, obviously, but I think that would be the appropriate response to it. But in terms of the general hate you get, and obviously the continued thing with the tankies recently, a lot of it seems to be come from a source of sex negativity, in the fact that you're a sex worker, and these people seem to be against that, which doesn't it seems fundamentally anti-socialist to me.
You know, I hesitate to say that because whenever I do talk about that, there is an element of it, but whenever I do talk about it, a lot of people like to criticize me for that and say that I'm just victimizing myself. And at this point, it seems to be, I think, a lot bigger than that because there are a lot of sex workers on Twitter, and a lot of sex workers actually do this to me. Sex workers are some of the most vicious to me. Um, so I don't know. I don't know. Um, I don't know if maybe other sex workers don't get it the way I do because they stay in their place. That these people have decided that they have. But you know, one of the people, so the person that found my husband's Twitter account, because my husband was really upset when this happened to me, and like, you know, he posted some, I guess, cringe stuff online where he was basically just like, I'm really happy, like I'm so fucking upset that this happened, to his 30 Twitter followers, because you know, he's just using it to like scream into the void. Um, After I deactivated. So the person that found his account and is like, oh, this is Merrick melting down on an alt, the person who's directing a fuck ton of harassment to my partner now, um, he was someone who pretty early on attacked me a lot and told me that I'm making leftist spaces unsafe for women because people by like being openly sexual, and by like talking about sex and politics. He was definitely one of those people that was like, you know, you can be sexual, but you know, don't talk about politics, or you can talk about politics but like don't combine it with elements of sexual. Like this commie girlfriend thing is like super fucking toxic, and you're inviting sex pests into the left. And you make other women feel uncomfortable about their bodies. Like girls DM me crying about how they don't like their bodies because they see pictures of you. So I guess, you know, there might be an element of like, because a lot of these people will say it's not because you're a sex worker, it's not because you're a sex worker. I think a lot of it might be because I'm a sex worker, but because I'm a sex worker who stepped out of her place.
Yeah, I heard you mention that, and obviously no names to be mentioned, but you talked to a bigger YouTuber about this, who was saying that other sex workers didn't get that because they essentially kept it on the down low, that they were sex workers.
Yeah, I've had a couple of people say stuff like that, or say that if I want to be taken seriously or if I want to be respected, I need to like cool it on the sex work stuff.
To be
I
respected.
don't remember which larger YouTuber you're talking about, but
Well,
or
no,
which larger account.
I don't know either. It was in your conversation with the Demon Mama, but you didn't mention any names, and I think that's probably fair for
That's
a private
probably for the
conversation.
best,
Yeah,
yeah. Because I think at least one of these people is someone who has done a lot of fucking damage and lies about me before. Like, you know, this is someone who's connected to the Savvy incident. So, yeah, someone who told me that um, if I wanted things to be easier, I would have to not be a sex worker and not post thirst traps anymore.
okay. Well, you mentioned the Savvy incident. You don't have to go over it in particular detail or anything, but what was that about? Because that was my first knowledge of your existence. Frankly, was the commie gun girl thing from a few months back. And you both seemed to be friends at the time. The kind of the two progenitors of that meme. And then you're not anymore.
Uh, yeah, so you know, we were relatively friendly. And then like, you know, I made a post that was like the two of us together, and I was like, oh, you know, like funny because I've made what I think are like obviously fucking joke posts, like obviously fucking shit posts. And a lot of like the dirtbag left and a lot of the shit poster left have decided that not only am I not self-aware, but that I mean every word I say, and I'm like super fucking cringe because of it. And it's super, super funny watching these people who think they're so smart and think they're so much smarter than everyone else, not understand. And their whole thing is like joking online, like not fucking understanding jokes or like not getting my sense of humor. So I posted these couple of tweets, and one of them was with me and Savvy, where I was like, oh, we're reading marks in our underwear to you. Life is good. Like, it's, oh my God, obviously it's a fucking joke. Like, obviously it's not meant to be taken seriously, but, she got a ton of pushback from that, I guess. And oh, yeah, everyone's talking about my cats. They're like literally fighting in the back. Okay. Um, yeah, so I guess Savvy liked me until she started getting pushback um, from like people being shitty to her because of joke tweets that I made. So at one point, I remember she messaged me and she was like, hey, please don't include me in photos or posts anymore without asking me first because I'm getting a ton of pushback and I just want to keep my page drama free. And I was like, okay, that's fine. Sorry. Like, my bad. I didn't mean to involve you in drama. Like, I was really new to Twitter at this point and I didn't understand that people freak out over like stuff that I would it would never occur to me to freak out over. So it started to get kind of a little weird then. And then it was around the Louisville stuff that she really kind of came for my throat publicly.
Well, they're really going for it. Fucking hell.
Yeah. So it was around then that she started to come for my throat pretty publicly when I was with Erica, who she had gone to Kenosha with before. And Erica had basically said that we need to talk about, or that we need to ask for people for donations so that we can get chest seals. And I don't know if your audience knows what chest seals are, but I'll just go ahead and when you, because Erica is an army combat medic, and I was going with her from Georgia to Louisville to help her and do like hands-on training with her when we got there. Because there was anticipated that there was going to be a lot of violence in Louisville whenever the governor, or I don't know if it was the governor, whenever they were reading the to see if there was going to be any charges for Breonna Taylor's killers.
Yeah.
So I was supposed to go there to help her and learn from her and train from her on the ground. So a chest seal is a medical piece of equipment that you can get, which will stabilize pressure in someone's chest if there's like a deep puncture or a gunshot wound, because your chest cavity has negative pressure. So if you get a super deep puncture wound and it's not closed up, you won't be able to breathe. So I was told that I needed to post something and raise money for to try to get money for chest seals. I was told that this is very normal. So I did that, and Savvy kind of came for my throat, and she was like, well, I don't think there's any violence in Louisville right now. So, there's people actually there that I know that need this money. And I was like, oh, okay. And we were in the car, we were driving, and Erica was like, she doesn't fucking know anyone there. I don't know why she's doing this. We you know Erica actually talked a lot of shit about Savvy, which was funny. Like, Savvy was like, oh no, I can't go to the ICE protest in Georgia because my car won't make it there. And Erica was like, that's not the fucking case. Someone flew her out to Seattle. She's fucking lying to you. I was like, okay. But so, yeah, Erica was like, I don't know why she's doing this. Like, she doesn't fucking know anyone in Louisville. And so I DM'd her and I was like, hey, like, what organization should I be raising money for? Like, what should I do? I deleted my post because Erica was like, fine, just fucking delete it. And I was like, okay, cool. So I deleted it and I messaged Savvy and she was like, well, actually, I don't know, but I'm asking someone else.
Oh God.
Okay, cool. I'll wait. Like, why did you fucking come for me? But So finally, she gets another person that I'm supposed to, another person to send her a Venmo. So I was like, okay, so I repost that Venmo, and then she tells me, you need to not tweet for the rest of the time that you're there. She's like, people are really upset, and I'm seeing a lot of backlash, so you should just not tweet anymore until you leave Louisville again. And I was like, ma'am, what? I've never had someone tell me that I can't post on my social media before. That's an interesting turn of events. Why should I not be tweeting right now? Like, what are you talking about? And she's like, well, people are just really upset with you. And I was like, okay. All right, well, whatever, man.
What were they upset
So,
with you
yeah.
about? Just the money that you were asked by someone else to raise?
Well, so because, when we went to the ICE facility in Georgia, um, I took a video of these fashy chud dudes that showed up to harass the protesters. At one point, Erica and I got in between these dudes because, they showed up to this protest the whole reason that I had flown out was to go to this protest. Oh yeah, my flying to Georgia was a huge thing. It was a huge controversy in itself too, because um, how could I afford the $120 plane ticket, which was way cheaper than taking my dying, very old Hyundai from Texas to Georgia. But it's like I said earlier, like I'm sick most of the year. I have horrible flare-ups that last for a really long time. So when I'm not in these flare-ups, like I want to do something. I want to be helpful. I want to get out there. And Erica was going to Georgia. So I'd been talking to Erica and I was like, fuck it. I want to help. I want to go. I want to do something. So it was this huge controversy that I afforded this $120 plane ticket to go to Georgia. And when we were there, I got into a confrontation with one of the armed chuddy guys. Now, I'm a big believer that we should be embarrassing fascists. I think that if you really, really, really put out there that fascists are scary and fascists are really bad and they're here to hurt us and they're winning, that's bad, right? Like, I mean, yes, you can talk about the seriousness of what's happening. There is a time and a place for that. Totally understand. But if you're always just like, oh, these fascists are so scary, you're giving them what they want.
Yeah.
And so this is something that like I've listened to a lot of people who know way more about this than I do, people who actually know what the fucking talking about, who studied stuff like this, and they're like, yes, you should make fun of them. You should belittle this rhetoric. Do not make them feel powerful. Embarrass them publicly. And the other thing is, like, a lot of these guys, as much as they want to shit on identity politics, are actually really fucking into identity politics. So if they see a sex worker publicly embarrassing them, that actually does something, that like hurts their morale. Like that it's good to have someone that they consider socially beneath them publicly embarrassing them. So I posted a video where I like publicly embarrassed this dude and just make him look fucking stupid. And I guess it went viral, and I guess a lot of people really didn't like that. And then later on, after we
But
left the ICE facility,
so,
I'm sorry,
I was just
go
going to
ahead.
say, why did they not like that?
Because, well, hold on, I'll tell this other thing, and then I'll tie them together, and it'll
Okay.
make
Yeah.
sense. So, so then, a couple of hours later, after the ICE protest had ended, Erica and I went with one of the organizers of the ICE protest, we went to another city in Georgia, completely different town in Georgia. And many hours later, and we were trying to catch like a new Black Panther protest, but we got there and it was pretty much ending. It was over when we got there. So I like went to go try to find a bathroom, and this was when COVID was still happening. I had just recently, like a couple of months prior to that, recovered from COVID. So I felt comfortable. I was still wearing masks. I was still like cleaning my hands regularly. Not like, I was practicing social guidelines still. But so, this was during COVID, so like a lot of restaurants were closed and it was really hard to find somewhere to go to the bathroom and I needed to go to the bathroom while we were here. So it took me a while and then, I took a picture in the bathroom where I was like, I kind of like, pulled my shirt down a little bit. Because at this point, I was having a little bit of fun. When COVID was still happening, it still is. Okay, yeah, sorry. COVID was currently had already happened. Sorry, I'm seeing your chat. COVID had already started to happen. So, I took a like kind of a sexy photo and I posted it and I was like, sorry, Fash, I only fuck leftists, because I was referring to the video that I had posted earlier where the guy was like, at the end of the video when I embarrassed him, he was like, well, you're hot though. I was like, you have got to be kidding me. And I caught that on film and I was like, that's the dumbest thing you could have said. That's fucking incredible, right? Like, so fucking funny and ridiculous. So I was referencing that post from earlier and I was like, sorry, Fash, I only fuck leftists. And, still playing into like embarrassing them. And so, I posted that and she told me, what Savvy told me was that people were really upset with me because I was centering myself. And even though I had been tweeting about the ICE facility and I had been tweeting about the protest, and I had actually done my homework and figured out which company runs the facilities, and I had like posted up like who their board of or I think I'd like retweeted who their board of directors were, and I was like talking about the corporation that owns these places, and I had posted about the event, like let people know it was happening. I guess that wasn't enough. So she was like, well, you're just centering yourself in all of this. You should be tweeting about the ICE facility and you should be tweeting about the women, but you're just making it about you. And I was like, oh,
That's
okay.
that's pretty dumb. Good.
Huh?
That seems like a pretty dumb reaction because you don't have to just tweet about that. You could also tweet about the meal you had or something as well. It's Twitter. Like it seems like a really silly response,
What are you doing? Yeah, I actually have a screenshot of Savvy responding to someone else at some point before that and being like, I don't care, it's just Twitter, I'm just here to shitpost. I was like, girl, okay, girl. Rules for me, but not for thee. But so yeah, she was like, well, you're just making it all about you. And I was like, well, I think there's actually a practical application and a practical reason to mock fascists publicly. I think weaponizing your ideology, because I know that these people fucking care desperately about ideology, whether they or identity, whether they say it or not. I think that's actually good. So if I can tweet about what's going on and let people know about this serious situation and also do a little bit of propaganda on the side, I not only do I think that's not bad, but I think that makes me more effective. Yeah, I was like really fucking confused by that. And I was just like, wow, no, I'm not, like, that's crazy. I just didn't even respond to her. So, the organizer of the event that we were with, they were making fun of me because it took me forever to find a bathroom when we were in that place in Georgia. And because then when I got in there, I was like taking selfies and shit. So I got back and they were like, dipshit, what are you doing? Like, where have you been? And I was like, oh, I was in the bathroom. Look what I did. And they were like, oh my God, Merrick, like the people that I was with in person, So Erica, like, was like, oh my God, wouldn't it be so funny to one of the organizers if you tweeted that that we thought she was like kidnapped, but really she was just in the bathroom doing this goofy shit? And he was like, oh my God, haha, that would be so funny. And now looking back on it, I should have been like, no, that's not funny. Don't do that. People will freak out. But I didn't know. I didn't know that people would freak out because, like, again, I'm still new to Twitter at this point, and still like new to leftist circles. So the organizer of the event quote tweets me and he was like, look at this bitch. We were worried she was kidnapped and she was in the bathroom doing this. So like, he did it. And people lost their minds. Like there was a bunch of tweets about how I'm ruining leftism, like that got screenshotted into oblivion. There's a bunch of tweets about how I'm ruining leftism and it's the death of the left. And I was just like,
The death
God
of the
forbid I
left.
take a selfie. Holy shit. I've single-handedly destroyed communism with my self-centering boobs. Like I don't know, man. Like it's so fucking just absurd and ridiculous. And
Well, that would be a great quote for a sex worker. My tits are so powerful they destroyed communism. Like that would be
destroyed
amazing.
communism. But so Savvy took that, and because I didn't respond to her message about her telling me I was centering myself, and I didn't say, "Oh, you're right, ma'am, I'm not gonna tweet anymore," she posted on her Twitter account, "There's a time and a place to be sexy, and it's not at a protest." And I was like, I saw it, and I was like, "Oh no." This is not going to go well for me. I was like, dude, what are you doing? Like, why are you tweeting this? And so of course all in the comments, because I believe she had like 40,000 followers at this time, right? So all in the comments people are talking about what a fucking superficial selfish idiot I am, how fucking cringe I am, like I can't believe she would do this, like holy shit. And so people were like going for my throat. And I was like driving at this point, and like all of these things were happening that people were just getting mad about this and mad about that and mad about this and mad about that, and people were memeing about how like I'm such a dumb bimbo that I was at I was at a protest, or I was at a bathroom during a protest, and like I was getting a fucking ton of hate at this point. And so I was like, I can't deal with this. This is absolutely just wild that this is spiraling out of control like this and turning into this. So I put her in a group chat with the kid who made the joke. And I was like, hey, you need to explain to her that this didn't happen. You need to explain to her that when we were at the ice facility, I was not doing this. There wasn't even a place that you could go to a bathroom. We had to pee in the woods. Like, there wasn't a place for me to go take a selfie. Also, I'm not that person, you know? Like, I think that that's really, really superficial, and like, that's really shitty. And I'm not that person. That's not why I went to this facility. So, I was like, hey, you know, you need to explain this to her. I don't have the emotional capacity right now. I'm really fucking upset. She turned on me on a dime and just started fucking going at me publicly. So, you know, and even on the comments on her public post, he was like, this didn't happen. Why are you doing this? You need to calm down. And in the group chats, he's like, hey, this was just a joke, blah, 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 blah. And they talk and they talk and they talk and they work it out. And then eventually it got to the point where she was like, you know, he was like, okay, I'm gonna take it down. I understand how it could be interpreted in a certain way. And she was like, that's okay, King, you'll make a better one. Because his got like 4,000 likes or something, right? Like it was starting to like pick up a lot of steam. She's like, it's okay, King, you'll make a better one. And then I popped in and I was like, hey, no, this is not resolved. You need to take your tweet down where you're talking a bunch of shit about me, because she had said my name a lot too. She's like arguing with people on this tweet about me and saying that I did this, and you know, my friends were searching for me with the police and I made them worried and they were so scared about me. She's literally in her comments saying all these things. And so I was like, hey, situation not resolved. I get you guys are feeling real good right now, but you still did this to me. You need to fix this. Like, this is not okay. You're not forgiven yet, Savvy. And she was like, well, she kind of freaked out on me at this point, and was basically just like, well, you know, my points about you still stand. And she was like, I'm not going to take my tweet down unless you take your selfie down, basically. She was like, you need to delete that selfie. And it would have been easier for me to just go, fine, fuck you, whatever, and delete it. But I was like, no, this is fucking ridiculous. Like, you're not gonna push me around this way. This is, I mean, this is reaching, like, this is absurd at this point, right? And so I was like, I'm not taking it down. And she just left her tweet up. So someone told her, hey, you're telling lies. And she was like, fuck you, I'm not gonna correct them until you do what I want. Take your selfie down. So those tweets are still up. That
Yeah,
was in like September. Those are still up.
still
Yeah.
up now. Jesus.
Yeah.
Wow. So,
Yeah.
d-
So this is like petty high school level drama.
yeah, absolutely. I think there's undoubtedly an element of misogyny in this because I think we've seen examples of men in centering themselves far more in situations and not receiving anywhere near the level of hate for it. What part do you think that sexism has played in all of this?
Um, yeah. I do think that it probably does play a significant part. Um, so who are the like the most controversial male figures you can think of on um
Probably Vosh, I suppose.
Vosh, right?
Yeah.
So Vosh or like, and I know Steven is not a leftist, but Steven is a liberal, so he's left of the,
That's
where the Overton window
Destiny,
is
yeah.
here. Yeah, oh, sorry, yes, that's me. Um, Left of like where the Overton window is here in the United States. So Stephen is actually like incredibly progressive, even for like a liberal, right? So he says a lot of very spicy, very, very spicy things, and he likes to fight with people and be kind of a dickhead. But so even with how Destiny likes to fight with people, the responses to Vosh and Destiny when they're like fighting with people and stuff is happening, it's nothing compared to the like just seething vitriol that I get when I cite a historical fact and make no judgment about it.
Yeah,
But
that's the really dumb element. Like you say, you didn't even make any judgment on it. Just stating a fact is too much.
but
There's a group
but
of
like
people
as
who
this
who are obsessed with hating on you.
yeah, yeah, it is obsession. It's obsession and it's I would say it's creepy, but I don't I don't even think that it's about me because like I'm not a person to these people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They have completely dehumanized me. I'm just I am an acceptable placeholder for them to take out their negative emotions on. Um, so it has nothing to do with me and it has everything to do with the fact that these are like super fucking damaged people or these are super frustrated people people who have a lot of like pent up anger and yeah, I definitely think sexism plays a big part in it. I think a lot of internalized misogyny, I think a lot of internalized whorephobia does too because like I said, like a lot of the people who are the worst to me are women and women who are sex workers.
Yeah, that's actually genuinely interesting because it's not necessarily the way you would imagine it, but it's clearly part of it. Yeah. Um.
Well, okay, so you know how Blair White is always like, I'm the good trans. Don't look at what those other trans people are
Yeah.
doing. I'm the good trans person. It's kind of like that. There's like an element of that to it. A lot of like sex workers have either seen stuff out of context or they believe Savvy. Because a little bit further on down the road in the Savvy situation, for people who don't know, um, she was brought to my hotel room by Erica when we were in Louisville against my wishes a couple of days after all this happened. And she was on, like a team with us. And then she falsely accused me of sexual harassment and of putting people's lives in danger. So, Savvy really like opened the floodgates. I mean, yeah, I was getting pushback and some hate before, but it was like I was able to fight a lot of it. But Savvy really put like an open season sign on my head and open the floodgates for people to just go for my throat constantly. So a lot of these girls either believe Savvy or they've seen stuff out of context, but a lot of it is also just like they've been told that it's okay to shit on me, or they've been told that I'm making sex workers look bad, I'm making the left look bad. So they have to go after me as viciously as possible to demonstrate that they're good sex workers and they're not like me.
Yeah, you become a vessel for other people's seemingly insecurities, damage, issues, and not just that, but as kind of a sport. People enjoy. It's like the cruelty is the point. I think we started off with that
Yeah.
point of cruelty. Is that's exactly
Yeah.
what they're trying to do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people are just shitty. A lot of people just think they're dunking on me
Hmm.
by saying a bunch of stuff that is either not true or they don't know what they're talking about. I think a lot of leftists have superiority complexes as well. And also, like, a lot of the people who are doing this are teenagers, so they're just kind of like dumb assholes anyway.
Yeah.
A lot of teenagers are dumb assholes. Sorry, they are. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of superiority complex, but yeah, the cruelty is the point.
Yeah. How has your entire experience? How has it affected your view of leftists, if not necessarily leftism, but of leftists and leftist online spaces?
I have to try very hard not to be really resentful.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I think probably for the best. In terms of your actual your Twitter account, you've deactivated, but I think you have up to 30 days to potentially reverse that. Um,
Yeah, yeah. So I have deleted or sorry, I have deactivated my Twitter account. I had a tiny little like alt account that I would just browse stuff on sometimes, but I deactivated that like a little bit after I deactivated my main, and I just I haven't been looking at stuff. So many people are finding me on all of my other social media and being like, "Hey, look at this, fuck you," or people have been like, "Oh my God, I can't believe what's happening to you. I'm actually scared." So I like kind of have a little bit of idea what's happening. Like I know about the obviously I know about the Nashville bomber situation. Obviously I know that I'm a cartoon villain for uh, for getting my sex toys and telling people that a company has a not so nice owner. I don't know what else is going on. Oh yeah, I think people are saying that I called the FBI on the person who made the Nashville bomber tweets about me. Because I received legal counsel on a live stream to contact APD, which is the Austin Police Department, because my information was posted on 4chan regarding the Nashville bomber situation. I actually found out live on a live stream. I was looking at my information posted on 4chan from someone who knows me in real life, so that was fun. And I found this live on a live stream, and I was talking to Demon Mama, who is absolutely fantastic. I love her very much. Please go check out her streams. But she was like, "Hey, we've got legal counsel on the phone. They said that you should probably contact your local PD and let them know that people might try to SWAT you tonight. So, in an effort to not have myself murdered by the police, my family murdered by the police, my roommate murdered by the police, or any of our animals killed by the police, I had to preemptively call, Austin Police Department and be like, hey, if someone says there's a bomb here, or hey, if someone says that, there's a hostage situation, please don't go kick down my door and shoot me in the head because that's not real. People are just trying to swat me because this is something that, 4chan does. And so, I was like, fuck. She was like, hey, you got to get off the stream. You got to call. You have to go do that right now. So that turned into, so me trying to preemptively not be murdered by police turned into I called the FBI on that person.
Jesus Christ.
So these are the things that are happening on Twitter right now, to the best of my knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm essentially been turned into a cartoon villain.
Yeah, it's pretty scary stuff, and in light of that, the question of whether you would want to be coming back to Twitter at any point seems, I don't know, moot. Not moot, I suppose. I don't know. How are you feeling about that? Do you have any intention of going back, or is this a permanent deactivation?
I don't know. All right. I didn't really want to deactivate in the first place, because I don't think that it's okay to let people like this win.
Yeah.
Um, but at the same time, like the amount of people that are trying to get me to kill myself, or the amount of people that are trying to get me to break sobriety, because I made the mistake of like being vulnerable and being sincere because I think that, that can help people. And like I've talked about my sobriety a little bit. I made a video about it. So like a lot of these people will leave comments on my videos that are like, why don't you drink 3 bottles of vodka about it? You know, like shit like that. And it's like, I just don't know how much abuse is worth it. Or like I just don't know if having a social media presence on Twitter is worth the amount of abuse. Like I don't know if you guys know AOC Cummies. He's like a big leftist shit poster, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, but like I saw some tweets the other day where he was in a thread with people being um, man, I love how we're gonna, I just can't wait till the next large, content creator or streamer or whatever kills themselves so we can pretend like we give a shit about harassment for a week and then go right back to it. And AOC Cummies is someone who has okay, that one is actually kind of creepy, the amount that this person like tweets about me and talks about me. They've had me blocked for a long time. So um they were like, yeah, cool, I can't wait for it either. And then someone was like, yeah, hope it's Merrick, hope she kills herself. So it's like I see shit like this every day at this point. And I just kind of have to like figure out if it's ever going to be worth it. And I think that that's something that'll come in time. Um,
Yeah.
maybe some of these kids will grow up. Maybe the more I talk about this, the more people will attack me. Because that is another thing that's happened is, if I acknowledge any of this, um, people go, oh, well, she's a lol cow. Like if I talk about this at all, like I'm, people are like, oh, she has no fucking, like, get a shred of self-awareness. You're a fucking lol cow. And it's like, okay, so, if I try to talk about it, like maybe it makes it worse. If I try to talk about it more, maybe people will understand like my side of things and like ease up on me. I really don't know. So it's kind of an impossible question to answer. I think it just really depends on how things go with time.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Um, are there any? Do you have any more thoughts on anything? Anything you wanted to say? If not, I can wrap this up.
Yeah, I guess I'm making a video right now where I'm talking about like drama spirals and hate mobs and um the fact that like Ash Coffin is on Twitter right now telling people that I harassed her because my husband like called her out one time because she's been like subtweeting negative things about me since September. Um, and now she is like making fun of me for being vulnerable about like having autism in a video and like how that affects my emotional state. So I guess I'm making a video where I talk about like people with platforms and how they can direct hate mobs to people. And I guess the one thing I want to say is like, I think, you know, be conscientious of your effect, whether you have a large platform or not. The If you do have a large platform, something that I think you need to keep in mind is that it's not just a comment that you're making, it's a comment that you're making that's going to drive your huge following to that person and to the situation. Um, and if you don't have a large following, I think just consider that the icons on the other end of the screen, because, I had a long chat with a kid last night who has been pretty antagonistic to me in the past. We called and we had a little video chat on Instagram where I answered some of his questions and I talked about some situations. And one of the things that he said to me was really interesting was he was like, yeah, I guess it feels really different now that I'm talking to you face to face and you're not just an icon on a screen. Like, you're actually a person.
Yeah.
And I guess the thing I want to say to people is the other people online, they're not just icons on screens. They're human beings that are holding those phones. They're human beings that are behind those computers. So just kind of keep that in mind when you interact with people, even if people are being shitty to you, even if people are being horrible to you. Keep in mind that that's probably someone who's just having a bad day. And we can sort of set the tone for how we want things to be, right? Like we can't just talk about our values, we have to live our values. And that was something that I told this kid last night too, because he was like, wow, thank you for being patient with me. You could have just blocked me. You could have just told me to fuck off. Because he's been talking shit about me for months on Twitter, right? And I was like, well, we have to lead by example, right? So if I want people to be nice to people online or to consider that other people are human, then I have to do that too. So that's just something that I want you guys to think about.
Yeah, I think that's a positive message to leave things off. Thank you for joining me. This I think was a worthwhile topic to bring to people. I hope you come back to Twitter at some point. I hope you feel able to, but obviously that's only something you can know with time.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Okay,
I really appreciate it.
and yeah, I'll let you go and enjoy the rest of your day.
Well, thank you.
Okay,
Have a good rest of your stream.
will do. Bye bye.
Bye.
Oh, well there you go. That's. I thought that was. Oh, hang on. Where are we? Boom. There we go. Right. Yes. Thank you to everyone who was like nice in the chat. There were some dickheads. I saw some dickheads. I got rid of some dickheads. Those people needed to be dealt with. Okay. I'll read out. We had some donations, didn't we, during the stream? So I'll get through those. Where can we find Merrick Deville on Twitter? Well, technically you can't anymore. She's deactivated her account. Oops, my bad. I didn't know Merrick Deville had deactivated her account. Well, there you go. You answered your own question, Sophia. You're just having a conversation with yourself via donations. Thank you. One of the reasons the USSR came near to defeating World War II was due to Stalin having killed all the best generals in his various purges. That's certainly true. Although the numbers are often inflated as to percentages and stuff, but there's no doubt that the USSR initially did suffer with lack of military experience in leading positions. No doubt about it. And Lace Arga, a mad bunch, power to use Merrick. Yeah. Yes, thank you. Thank you to everyone for your donating and subscriptions and all of that. That's very pleasant. Very generous of you all. Anyway, I think I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go and well, just generally have a good time. No, I'm gonna go and eat and then probably sleep or something. Because I've done 2 streams tonight. 2 fucking streams. I don't know, how do people like the Hassan Piker, right, does like 10, 12-hour streams a day? How? How the fuck is that? How? I don't know how that is possible, but they do it. But anyway, I'll let you go. I'll let you go. On Twitch, I'll raid you into who's on. Hannah. Hannah's good. Anyway, I'll start that raid. And yeah, thank you. Join me tomorrow. I'll be back to talk about stuff and things. I don't even know what yet. I need to put a show together. 7 p.m. I'll be back at my usual time tomorrow. 7 p.m. UK time. 2 p.m. on the east coast of Americana land. 7 a.m. in the great nation of Fiji. All hail Fiji. And yeah, I've still got the picture from earlier as well, because I didn't even put a new picture in because I didn't know I wasn't going to need it. Anyway, thank you all for listening and watching. All the links are below for if you want to go and follow me on Twitch. You can do that below. If you want to go and subscribe to me on the YouTubes, you can do that. My Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, PayPal, Streamlabs, the Facebook group for the happy hour, all of that shit is in the description. Go and give them a follow, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Oh my god, I need to actually fucking go into the thing, don't I? Apologies. Right now, there we go.